Let's now move on to the evidences from the Quran and Sunnah. The Quran has at least a dozen verses that some ulama have attempted to prove mention the evil eye. It is my assessment and the assessment of many scholars, take it or leave it, that the Quran is not explicit about the evil eye, but it is implicit. Take it or leave it, and I'll quote you the verses. I went over all 12 of them today in quite detail, and I just decided 5 or 6 do not even make any cut, because they talk about hasad, have nothing to do with the evil eye. Hasad is hasad. Of course it exists. And a lot of ulama took verses about hasad. أَمْ يَحْسُدُونَ النَّاسَ عَلَى مَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Like, what has that got to do with the evil eye? And they said this is a reference. No, there's no reference at all. So I chose 4 or 5 verses that I believe are at least a bit more indirect, but, and you can agree or disagree, it's fine. The Quran does not explicitly mention the concept of evil eye. And this is what has allowed some Muslim philosophers and thinkers to say this is not an Islamic concept, because it's not found explicitly in the Quran. I'm just saying some people, again, don't misquote me. We're going to get to my own opinion in a while, inshallah. I have to be so careful. There are whole trigger-happy people just waiting to release 15 refutations immediately. Allahumma musta'an. It is what it is. Inshallah, Allah is the ultimate judge in the next life, and in this world history judges not. A person is never judged in his own lifetime. When they're gone, then people look at them and decide. In this world, people, it's irrelevant what people say. We leave legacies, and Allah Azza wa Jal decides in the akhirah, and people decide after a person leaves this world. And I hope Allah Azza wa Jal accepts from us. So, what are the verses in the Quran that discuss the evil eye? In my opinion, the most explicit verse is Surah Qalam, verse 51. Surah Qalam, verse 51. And again, I say the most explicit, but none of them are actually explicit. وَإِنْ يَكَادُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَيُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ لَمَّا سَمِعُوا الذِّكْرَ وَيَقُولُونَ إِنَّهُ لَمَجْنُونَ. The kuffar would love, they're trying their best to, the Arabic is لَيُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ. This is the only time in the whole Quran this phrase occurs. La yuzliqunaka. The only time in the whole Quran this word occurs, with their eyes. And zalaqa means to demolish, means to cut down. So it is possible the kuffar are trying, they're eager to destroy you with their own eyes when they hear you recite the Quran and they say that you are majnoon. So they're trying to destroy you, they're trying to demolish you by staring at you. This is implicit, but is it explicit? Because you can look at somebody wanting to destroy them in anger, and I'm sure we've all done this in our lifetime when somebody cuts you crossing the lane, right? You give them that stare. It's a stare, it's an anger. It's not the evil eye. لَيُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ. So this is a reference. Now, At-Tabari and others, they mention this is a reference to the evil eye. Great, excellent tafsir, but it is a tafsir of the ayah, it is not the ayah. I'm just being factual here. It is an extrapolation, and if you go look at the other scholars, like for example Mu'tazila, they don't agree with Al-Ain. The non-Sunni scholars, many of them don't agree. The Mu'tazila, go read their tafsirs. They'll take it at face value. That the kuffar are staring with you in anger. They wish you could just be destroyed. And what they have said fits the language of the Quran. Right? So this is one verse. Another verse, Surah Kahf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the 2 people that are arguing. وَلَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتَكَ قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ إِن تَرَانِي أَنَا أَقَلَّ مِنكَ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا. Why don't you say, MashaAllah la quwwata illa billah, when you enter your Jannah? Question, is this explicit about the evil eye? Not at all. It's quite literally just saying you should be thankful to Allah when you enter your garden. So this is a reference, and many mufassirin say this is to protect you from the evil eye. And I say, great tafsir, jazakallah khair, but it is a tafsir, it is not the ayah. And it is jaiz to have a tafsir that is extrapolating. It's permissible. But let's be fair and allow those who say, but this isn't explicit, to say, you're right, it's not explicit. Right? So this is one of the verses that وَلَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتَكَ قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. This is the second verse. The third verse we're going to do, Surah Yusuf, verse 67. Surah Yusuf, verse 67. وَقَالَ يَا بَنِيَّ لَا تَدْخُلُوا مِنْ بَابٍ وَاحِدٍ وَادْخُلُوا مِنْ أَبْوَابٍ مُتَفَرِّقَةٍ وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Yaqub says to his sons, do not enter from one door, rather enter from multiple doors. And I know that when you do so, it will not protect you anything from the qadr of Allah. And then Allah says in the very next verse, and when they followed their father and they entered in from multiple doors, ما كان يغني عنهم من شيء إلا حاجة في نفس يعقوب قضاها. Allah affirms exactly what Yaqub said. When the brothers entered from all of these doors, it didn't affect anything in Allah's qadr. It was just something in the heart of Yaqub that he wanted fulfilled, and it was fulfilled. At-Tabari says, he informed them and he commanded them to do this because they were a group of young, handsome men. فَخَافَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْعَيْنِ. He was worried for al-ayn if they were to enter from one door and everybody saw them together. Question, Tabari's tafsir, is it explicit or is it implied? Implied. Because go read the Mu'tazili tafsirs, go read the non-Sunni tafsirs, and they will say he was worried that a group of 10, 11 men would be perceived as a physical threat. This wanted to be dispersed. Not al-ayn, but like a gang is coming in. You know, in a strange town, you are ethnically different because they were ethnically different, right? And they are coming in, you know, because again, the world back then, it's a very different world. It's not equal rights. There's no visas, whatnot. You never know what's going to happen. So bring low attention to yourself. Be wise in how you do things. So once again, the verse is quite clear, and many scholars, I'm quoting At-Tabari, there's actually this verse, at least a dozen of our mufassirun interpreted to be al-ayn. You can go read Ibn Atiyah, Ibn al-Jawzi, so many, they said al-ayn, al-ayn, al-ayn. And okay, Jazakallah khair, I honestly appreciate, but I have to be precise. It might be a reference to al-ayn, but it might not be as well. As we said, let's be very clear here, that the Quran doesn't seem to have anything explicit. Jayyid. The last verse we will mention, so I mentioned 5 of them. There are more, but in my opinion, those others are not even vaguely referencing. They're just hasad, references of hasad. The 5th and final reference, that is the most common reference for al-ayn. Which one is it? Who can tell me? Surah Falaq. Surah Falaq. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ. Question, is this explicit about al-ayn? وَمِنْ شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ. Does it mention ayn? Is there not physical evil that can happen from the evil of the one who is jealous? So once again, what did I tell you? It's up to you to accept or not. I'm not forcing anybody to follow any opinion. I'm trying to be very neutral and fair. The Quran does not explicitly reference al-ayn. There are a number of verses that have been interpreted to be al-ayn. Because وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ can be a reference to al-ayn. It can be. And it can also be a reference to a jealous person goes crazy. And a jealous person will do what no other person will do physically, to harm you, to say things about you, to lie, to backstab. So when the Quran is saying, وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ, oh Allah, protect me from anybody who's jealous of me. Yeah, it could be physical, it could be al-ayn. So the Quran implicitly has been interpreted to discuss al-ayn by many scholars, but to be fair, there doesn't seem to be an explicit reference to al-ayn.